Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an episode of Chevalier, where we are here to help men and women find happy, healthy, and long-term relationships. And like always, it don't matter whether you're black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Puerto Rican, South American, or even the penguins in Antarctica. I think it's pretty fair to say that most people want relationships, even if they're scared to call it a relationship. And I think the connotation of relationships usually has a bad feel to it because most modern women, unfortunately, don't have a clue how to choose a worthy man. And this is why a conversation I had with a client on Friday is why most women in the world still go through arranged marriages. I'm not saying arranged marriages is right. I'm not saying it's wrong. But if you look at the facts, you verify the information, it still goes on in the world today. Why? Because most women have a hard time choosing the type of men that they want, that they're looking for. I've created several videos on this topic about the type of man you should want. And you'd be surprised how many messages I get telling me, how do I know if a man is disciplined? How do I know if he has integrity? What's a guy with morals? What's the difference between morals and ethics? And these are things that, that to an extent, you would think that, women who were raised to be wise would have been taught when they were younger. Like in my marriage, dealing with my wife and learning how to treat people the way I want to be treated, it was very simple because she was raised to act and treat me a certain way, and I was raised to act and treat women a certain way, with respect, with consideration, with empathy, sympathy, and understanding. And when we had empathy, sympathy, and understanding for each other, we were able to forgive each other. And that was how we was able to build a relationship and marriage that lasted as long as it has. Very unfortunate that because so many modern women get in bad relationships with guys who assault them, abuse them, mistreat them, cheat on them, and become very handsy. And they stay in these relationships that when they finally leave, they're so torn down, they're so broken, they're so destroyed that trying to even interact with these women on a level of love is almost impossible. It's very hurtful. It can sometimes be damaging towards the guy who's trying to date and love this woman. Because so often modern women don't know how to forgive themselves for, number one, choosing a guy that wasn't befitting of a man who's worthy to be a husband. And number two, staying in a relationship, being with a man who's unbefitting of the worthiness of being a husband. So often I hear the stories where it's like, a woman who's been with a guy for years and he's cheated for years, and I'm like, okay, you left, that's good. But then they're so damaged that it's almost like this guy represents every other man in the world. What he did wrong, we all got to take the fault for. Which I would consider that to be unfair, but it's always, kind of a two-way street thing, because when it comes to modern women and these hurts that they've gone through, it's like men should be understanding and be gentle with her and be patient with her. She's been through a lot, and I'm all for that. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for understanding and being patient and understanding of a woman. But then I tend to wonder why men don't get that same speech and conversation, why men don't get that same understanding. And this isn't about men or women. It's just about treating everybody the same. If a woman deserves love and understanding and patience, surely a man does. Especially if he's the type of guy that treats women right, that admits he's wrong, who doesn't abuse or hurt women. The nice guys, the ones who most women say, too boring, or he's not my type, or he's not the type of guy I want to be with, or I want a guy who's that I can't walk all over or soft. Interestingly enough, when you look at the top tax bracket of this country, it's generally guys who were considered the geeks and the nerds and the lames and the guy that wasn't that popular because he dressed a certain way, and now he started his own company. When I say started his own company, I mean he actually employs people, not like, 90% of people who say, "Oh, I got my own company," but you don't have any employees. I don't understand how that works. The guys who dress nice, the guys who smell nice, the guys who keep themselves clean cut, the guys that want to take a woman out to a nice restaurant, not because he wants intimacy, but because he genuinely wants to get to know you. And it's often that these guys are the ones that are getting the backlash from what the last guy did. And I always find it unfortunate because this is the guy that's going to accept your children from another man that's not his. This is the guy that's going to stay around and work with you to be healed. This is the guy that's going to put up with the nonsense and work through it with you. This is the guy who generally is not going to cheat on you because he's not been in many relationships and he values just the idea of being with a woman. This is the guy who's going to keep the house, that's going to help you pay the bills. If not, he's going to pay the bills himself. He's going to keep the house nice and clean. He's going to be clean cut. He's going to bring peace and love in the house, but he's going to bring tradition, and more importantly, he's going to bring structure. See, these are the guys who most women don't want because they're so used to being in relationships that don't have any structure, that doesn't have any format or tradition. Like, women has, women, even in this generation, from Generation Z to millennials to Generation X and baby boomers, I find it very interesting how all these women seem to converge on the idea of a traditional man, but then want to be modern women and then wonder why relationships don't work. I often tell clients of mine, if you want a traditional man, you have to be a traditional woman. And if you're not going to be a traditional woman, you don't get a traditional man. This is why so many women can't find relationships, and you say there are no good men out here. And I often say there are no stupid men out here, and this is why they won't converge on the stupidity by forking their hard-earned money in relationships that don't benefit their happiness. That's like going to a restaurant and paying for food that you don't want to eat. This is why forgiveness is so important, because if you forgive yourself for choosing that loser, that beta male that be abused, mistreated, assaulted, and did you wrong, you make more time to love and appreciate the guys that will treat you right, that will not abuse you, that will not hurt you, that will accept your children, that will accept your past, and that will accept you the way you are. Because that's the number one thing I hear women say, "Oh, I want a guy to accept me the way I am," and that's honestly cool. But the men want the same, and they want someone that's going to accept them the way they are too. And that's the part where I tend to get into wrestling matches with women verbally is, you want a man to accept you the way you are, then accept him the way he is. All this, he got to look a certain way, he got to be a certain way, he got to please me a certain way, and all this, it's like, you ain't perfect. Why he can't, he got to accept you the way you are, why he can't be human, why he can't be normal? As long as he loves you, appreciates you, treats you right, and forgives you for when you're wrong, then why he can't get a shot? What's so bad about him? This is why I say forgiveness is so important, because when you forgive yourself for being in bad relationships and for staying in these bad relationships for as long as a lot of you modern women stay in them, you let go of that hatred, you let go of that guilt, you let go of that pain and that suffering that you're in, that wrath that you're holding on to. You're able to let it go. You're able to let it go so you can start off fresh in a new relationship with a man that actually wants to be with you and treat you right. And he's wanting that same feeling in return. Men want the same thing women want, and that's to be loved and appreciated. And if you talk to a man and he's not willing to love and appreciate you the way you are ready to love and appreciate him, then it ain't for you. I often hear women say, "I want to be spoiled," and understand that the man you told that to wants to be spoiled also. And if you were as good as you thought you were, you wouldn't be single or looking for a sugar daddy or whatever it is you're looking for. Which is why I say, if you're not looking to date, get off of the dating sites, because you're wasting everybody's time. Forgive yourself, forgive others, forgive the heart, forgive your mind, forgive your soul,